Hello and welcome. It is our first time getting to be together in this way. I'm Martin Houston, Chief Empowerment Officer for Empowerment Strategies and Solutions. And so excited to be coming to you today to bring you the transformative power of encouragement, creating a championship culture. Um, that's what we're going to focus on today. I want to invite you, if you have questions or comments, you can add them in. I am working with a new software, so this is a test, a live test, a live demo. So please bear with me as we move throughout today, and hopefully it'll be a good experience. I can tell you that the material, I feel 100% confident is good material, but working through the software and working through some bugs. So you're the live tests for me, and we'll do this same seminar several more times. So if it doesn't work out today, make plans to join me back again. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, once again, the title is The Transformative Power of Encouragement, Creating a Championship Culture. At Empowerment Strategy and Solutions, we have three main goals. That's empowering better people, building and empowering stronger teams, and empowering championship cultures. And I believe that one of the ways to do that is through encouragement. So, thus, my book, The Encouragement Factor, Give Me One More Inch, is so critical, I think, to where we are in today's world. So, thank you so much for taking time to be with me. You, as an organization or as an individual, need to understand that there's an invisible force that fuels momentum, it strengthens relationships, and it unlocks potential. And I believe that that fuel is encouragement. While often underestimated, encouragement is one of the most powerful tools a leader can have in their toolbox. It's not soft, it's strategic. It creates clarity in chaos, it brings courage in adversity, and commitment in the face of complacency. And this particular boot camp reveals how intentional encouragement can help you build those stronger teams I was referring to earlier. And of course, stronger teams in improves championship culture. It fosters trust. It drives performance. And whether you're leading from the boardroom, the classroom, or somewhere on the front line, the principles that I'm going to cover today is going to be very beneficial to you. So, looking forward to it. But before we do that, there's a principle that I teach my children, and I want to teach you, and that's the principle of keep blocking. Greatness awaits, but it waits for no one. And I have a little short clip I want to share with you that I believe will help you fully understand this principle. And I'll be back in just a moment.
The biggest poison in us is regret.
I think there are a lot of people that have dreams and aspirations of things that they always wanted to do, but it wasn't the right time, or they didn't have enough money, or they didn't have enough experience. It's never the right time. You're never going to have the right experience. And all of a sudden you wake up and you're 70. And you're like, God, I wish I could have done it.
It's what you don't do that screws with you later on.
I get one shot at this life. This is it. And I don't want to go through life being the 80% version of me. I don't want to look back and be like 77 and be like, I didn't do that. There's so much I want to do, and I love life so much, I don't want to miss it.
And I want to thank Michael David for that video, because it really sets the stage for what I want to convey to you today. The principle of just getting in there, going after it, maximizing the opportunities that we've been given, that you've been given. And the key there is whether you're an individual or an organization. Here's some of the objectives we want to talk about today. First of all, understand the impact of encouragement in the corporate culture. Learn the one more inch principle and how it applies to daily performance. Going to give you a little exercise here in a moment. Encourage you to participate and follow along with that. We're going to identify and overcome or teach you how to overcome barriers to encouragement, because there are some very obvious barriers to encouragement. Then another key objective is to develop practical ways to foster a culture of encouragement, and of course, apply key strategies to unhidden potential. John Maxwell says, encouragement is oxygen to the soul. Our overarching principle for today is simply this. I believe, like that video just said, that there's greatness inside of us. However, for different reasons, we are fearful to move forward. We're fearful to launch out. We're fearful to step forward. We're hesitant. Whatever may be our barrier, the overarching principle that I want you to understand is that we all have more within us than we give on a day-to-day basis. It is a proven fact that we keep a little bit in reserve. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. It is the people in our lives, the leaders, the coaches, and the mentors who inspire us to give that one more inch. And you may be saying, well, I don't have people in my life like that. That's where empowerment strategies and solutions comes into place for individuals, within groups, and within organizations, so that we can come alongside you and be that coach, that inspiration, that encouragement. You never know when that moment of a few sincere words of encouragement can have impact on a life forever. That's a quote from Zig Ziglar, one of the great motivational speakers, great salespeople, but motivators and encouragers out there. So, with that said, now it's time for our exercise. All right. Here's Before I move forward, I want to remind you that at the end of the presentation, right before I go into all of the takeaways for today, I am going to let there's a slide, you'll QR code it. It gives me a little bit of feedback, and then it gives you this entire slide presentation. So don't worry, these slides are detailed, and there's a lot of information, but you will get a copy of this slide presentation simply by completing the QR code or scanning the QR code, and then you'll get the slide presentation. All right. So those of you who are out there with me, here we go. Ready? Take your hands, stretch them above your head, as high as you can, and hold it as high as you can. Stretch it high as you can. All right. Now, give me one more inch. Stretch it one more time. Yeah. And if you're sitting down, stand up. And you see how when you do that what we do a lot of times is when people say raise your hands as high as you can, we actually don't. We keep a little bit in reserve. And then when they say, oh, give me one more inch, all the time. When it's live, I can't tell if it worked on you, but I know every time I've ever done this live, I've never failed to see an entire room full of people, all their hands go up another inch. And then I keep going, and then people begin to realize, oh, if I stand up, my hands are higher. And I don't recommend this, but some people will even start to get on a table or stand on their tiptoes or stand on some object on the floor. But each one of those things happen because I encourage you to give one more inch after the initial command. Many times, Jimmy Johnson said the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just a little extra. So many times, when you look at your life, you look at the people you admire, you look at the people you follow, many times the person who you admire the most, you'll find out they give just a little bit extra. They don't cut corners. They don't take the easy way out. They find a way to push themselves to give just a little bit more. And that's what this exercise is all about, is that we all, I don't care who you are, we all need people in our lives who will push us to give a little bit more. Imagine what would happen in our workplaces, in our lives, if everyone gave one more inch every day. If everybody just gave just a little bit more, how much better would your company be? How much would it transform your organization if from the boardroom all the way to the front line, or from the front line all the way to the boardroom, based on your perspective, if everybody gave just a little bit more? Encouragement is a tool that helps us and others reach that extra inch. Theodore Roosevelt said, "Do what you can with what you have, where you are." So I want to show you another video that I believe is a powerful, powerful tool, and it will help you. This young lady, Chantel Jones, um, I'm not talking about her whole speech. This was just a segment of what she talked about, and she received encouragement. And I want you to listen how encouragement impacted her.
Don't give up. Keep going. You've got this. You're going to finish this race. You are going to finish strong because you're a champion and you've got what it takes. It was like verbal sunshine. I was so encouraged. I picked up my feet, I picked up the pace, and I ran that race all the way to the finish line.
Doing my favorite thing at 7 p.m. as a content creator. Guess what it is?
Well,
Teaching.
and
Just kidding.
that will
Sending
be
professional emails is hard, and I don't even know what I was doing before Grammarly. While scrolling, I see that Grammarly.
You see, let me pause right there. Remember, I told you I'm trying new software. That was my first glitch, but here's the remainder of Miss Jones.
The thing about encouragement is that if you say it long enough, or better yet, if you say it strong enough, it starts to get on the inside. What would happen if parents told their children every day, "I believe in you. You can achieve that dream. Go for your goal"? What could happen if educators and administrators told every single student, "You've got what it takes. Keep going"? I could only imagine what this world would become if every single one of us, if every single one of you was encouraged. When we are encouraged, we are unstoppable. We are powerful beyond measure, inspired with that hope and confidence that forces us to break through barriers and live out our wildest dreams. Not only does encouragement help us reach success, but it could help us get there more quickly. You see, encouragement can be the difference between getting started on that goal 5 years from now, or getting up and taking the first step to make it happen today.
All right. So think about that for a second. What we just talked about in that particular clip, where she talks about the power of encouragement to help her keep going, to keep running, to keep pushing. What would happen in your organization if you had that type of encouragement happening from teammates, happening from managers, happening from the CEO, everybody in the organization walking around with that? The greatest good that you can do for another is not just to share your riches with them. We A lot of times we want to give out of our abundance, but what if your intentions was to reveal to them their own riches? And I believe that's what encouragement does. So let's get into it. It's not a long presentation here, but I do want to hit a few key points on the power of encouragement in the corporate culture to transform a culture, to transform an environment. The first thing is encouragement unlocks potential. Well, first of all, you have to understand what is potential. Potential means that you haven't done anything yet, that there is the ability to do something, but it has not happened. I've seen people who are willing and not able, and I've seen people who are able but not willing. And what's the difference in that? A lot of times it's really encouragement. That person who is willing to do something, but don't have the necessary ability to do it, well, your form of encouragement may be to give them the direction, the words, the steps they need to get the ability or gain the ability. Now, if they don't have the ability, I always tell people, if you don't have the ability to do something, for instance, if you are a want to be on American Idol, want to be the American Idol, and you can't sing, no amount of encouragement in this world will unlock the potential in you to become an American Idol, because that potential, that latent ability isn't there. But in the encouragement should be that you should find another career. But let's say you do have the ability, but you don't have the opportunity, or it's going to be in Atlanta, but you live somewhere in Mississippi, and you're fearful and concerned that you're going to waste your money if you go over. Well, like the video said earlier, you don't want to be 70 years old wondering what if. The person that brings encouragement can help you do that. So let's take this into a company. So many times, as the upper level management people, we have ideas, we have thoughts, we have strategies, but the frontline people are the ones who are executing. And if we do not uh, tap into them and encourage them and create an environment of encouragement, one where they feel they can come back to us and challenge us and offer ideas, then the potential will not be maximized in that situation. It helps individuals believe in themselves and perform at their highest level. And what leader of an organization doesn't want that? What leader of an organization doesn't want that? I mean, I'll ask you, if you could get maximum potential out of your people, would you? Well, how do you do that? It starts with engaging them where they're at, encouraging them to step up and take that step. And then the next few steps, which is a whole separate talk, the next step is that you educate them on what they need to do. And the next step is you equip them and give them the tools to do it. And the last step is the empowerment step, where you give them the opportunity. But it starts with knowing what type of encouragement that person needs to help them reach their maximum potential. Encouragement also boosts morale and productivity. A simple word of encouragement increases motivation and commitment. So many times there are people who are kind of on the fringe, and they have ideas, or they want to engage, or they have a way to make things better in their organization, in your organization, in your company, but yet you feel disconnected. You don't feel like your value. You don't feel like your ideas matter. You don't feel listened to or heard. Well, a word of encouragement goes a long way to helping you feel that way. And if you're the leader, it goes a long way into helping your team feel connected. So boost morale and productivity through encouragement. It also fosters, once again, I kind of hit on that already, but it fosters belonging, an environment that builds trust and connection. And I believe that trust and connection is two of the three strands of the foundation, or the threefold cord of leadership, which is buy-in, trust, and connection. And what I love about those three things is that it doesn't matter which one you start with. If you connect with someone, then it helps you build trust. And if you connect and build trust, you can build buy-in. And you can see how if you have buy-in, you can get trust. If you have buy-in and trust, you can get connection. And last but not least, if you have trust, you can connect and get buy-in. And encouragement goes a long way in helping build all three of those. And then the other thing is, I believe that encouragement is um, contagious. It creates a ripple effect. Think about what a ripple effect is. When you throw a stone, the pebble into the water, that pebble creates concentric circles that are ever increasing, so much larger than the pebble that is thrown in. And that's what encouragement does for your team. It spreads throughout the workplace and it strengthens your team and it strengthens their connection. So, why don't you be the one to make sure that you are continually throwing pebbles into your workplace, continually throwing pebbles in. And I tell people, if you get enough pebbles, just think if you have a pebble in marketing and a pebble in finance and a pebble in technology and a pebble in uh, accounting, and you drop them all in, all of those concentric circles eventually connect and touch, and it eliminates the silo effect of your team. Remember this about encouragement: it's like a candle, it loses nothing by lighting another candle. In other words, when you share encouragement, you just spread what's already a part of you, but you lose nothing in exchange. What are some of the common barriers to encouragement, and why? If to me, encouragement is such a easy element, soft skill, but a underutilized one. Why is that? I think part of it is that as a whole, we're not taught very well as leaders to give feedback, to be continual coaches. I don't think we as a whole have been trained very well on the importance of feedback. Now, we understand it when we don't get it. We know the frustration of not getting feedback, but many times we do not develop the skill of actually giving that feedback. And why am I saying feedback? Because I believe that encouragement is feedback. Now, I am going to get to this, I think, but in case I don't, I want to go ahead and hit it now. The when I say encouragement, some people think that it's blind encouragement, that it's just sunshine pumping. That's not what I'm talking about. Encouragement can be both presented when there's something positive and negative, and I do get to that. So I'm going to hold off on that. Let me get back to this. Fear of giving feedback is one of the most common barriers. Another one is a lack of trust. Either you don't trust your people, but more importantly, they don't trust you and you don't have connection with them. And so it doesn't come across as authentic when you give encouragement because there's no trust relationship, no connection relationship. So that prevents you from giving the encouragement, the much needed encouragement. And then the third thing is cultural norms that focus on criticism over positive reinforcement. In other words, America, guys, we are simply a negative bunch of people. That's what we are. I mean, we we literally um, don't do a good job of focusing on the positive. If in marketing, they used to say of course, I was in school 30 plus years ago, um, but they used to say, if you tell somebody, if something bad happens, you'll go out and you'll tell 8 people. Well, they need to change that because now we just post it on social media and we tell everybody in our network. So the key there is that cultural norms, the way we're raised, the environment we're in, tends to focus on negative over positive reinforcement. And even the fact that I had to kind of explain a minute ago that encouragement isn't, a weakness, but it's a strength. And I'm going to show you the difference between this false praise, helicopter parent, everybody gets a trophy culture versus what I mean by encouragement. But before I do that, let me get back to strategies to overcome these barriers. If you have fear of giving feedback, lack of trust, in an environment where the norm is criticism versus positivity, lead with empathy. In other words, don't just sympathize and see what they're going to. Put yourself in that person's shoes and give them what you would expect someone to give you to deal with whatever that situation may be. In other words, the reality of it is if you were in their shoes, what would you want your coach or your manager or your boss to do for you? Or what should you do? Lead with empathy. Put yourself in those shoes and then move forward from there. Number two is build trust through consistent behavior. People want to know that you are consistent. That if they do something, your response not the same. I mean, sometimes we get caught up in fair and equal. I don't believe in treating people necessarily equal because I can't keep up with that. I believe in treating people fairly, and you treat them fair by being consistent. That doesn't mean that you give everybody the exact same thing, but it means that you look at each situation and you take time to understand the situation, then you act accordingly. That's what I mean by build trust through consistent behavior. People know that if they mess up, then you're going to listen, that you're going to let them be heard, that you're going to work through it. If you are fly off the handle type of guy, then come back and ask questions later, then it's going to be hard to build that trust. But once you have trust, then that relationship and that connection, you'll see that encouragement flows a lot easier. And then focus on specific praise, opportunities, and accomplishments, so that you can intentionally. You have to be intentional about this. You have to intentionally focus on the positive things that they're doing, or you focus on the things they're doing and figure out how to help them get past it. John Wooden, great UCLA coach, won 7 championships in a row, said, "Don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do." So do something. Just do not miss those opportunities to communicate, the opportunities to encourage others. This one is something I wrote about in my book, The Encouragement Factor, Give Me One More Inch. Never really heard people teach on it, talk on it a lot. But for me, it's a difference maker. It's a game changer if you understand the difference between the two. Praiser versus encourager. There is such a drastic difference in these two. And the first thing is, let's define praiser. Praiser focuses on the outcome of a situation. They focus on the results. They focus on the scoreboard. They focus on um, what they can see, not where you're going. They don't focus on the process. Praisers often commend individuals only when a task is completed or something has been achieved. So praisers are very much one moment in time type of people, meaning that you've hit a benchmark that they have established in their head, or the two of you established. But most of the time, praise is about a completed task, a completed phase, a completed project. Encouragers, on the other hand, focuses on the effort that's being put in and the journey that's being walked out or worked on. And why does that matter? Encouragers recognize hard work at any point in the project. Okay, they, there's a determination. They look at the commitment. They look at They can praise the work that's been done. They can praise the results that have happened. They can encourage you around the hard work that's happening, around the determination and the progress that's being made along the journey. Why is that so important? Praise can sometimes create pressure to maintain and try to achieve a specific outcome. You're working on a project, your business is developing a product or service, and there's a certain outcome, there's a certain deadline, there's a certain whatever that has to be hit. And instead of the person looking to um, make the project the best, they're looking to get to that point of completion, and they may look or overlook an opportunity to make a process better, because if they modify that process, it may change the result a little bit. It may make the result a week later or a little less initially. And if you're a praiser and you only praise, then they know that they're not going to hear anything or know anything except for you missed the deadline, you missed the mark. An encourager, on the other hand, an encouragement, on the other hand, it builds the mindset that we're trying to get better. And if you're in there with the person, moving along with them, and you get to that place where maybe some type of quality control issue can be addressed, then they address that issue knowing that you're going to encourage them and uh, be okay with the fact that they didn't hit the deadline because they did something that's going to pay dividends in the future. Praisers and encouragers don't always, praise and encouragement doesn't always drive to the same ending point. A praiser is looking for that result no matter what. An encourager is looking for opportunities to continue to pull the full potential, maximum potential out of a situation. So be an encourager. Encouragers focus on long term growth, creating a supportive environment. And this environment is where people will feel valued for their contributions at every stage along the way. This is one of the neat things that you may or may not be familiar with or fully understand. Encouragement can happen even when a person is failing. It can take that failure and turn it into a growth opportunity. Here's an example. Let's say you have an employee who is struggling with a project you've given them, and they're just they're just not getting to that point where you want them to be, and you're not happy, you're not satisfied, and neither are they. So both of you feel that there's something that has to change. A praiser comes in, and all they know how to do, because there's nothing to praise because it didn't hit the result, it didn't reach the outcome. So a person who is a praiser versus an encourager will come into that situation, and they will point out what's wrong and why you fail. An encourager comes in and says, "Hey, I know this is not the result or the outcome that you or I was expecting." And then they bring that person into the solution and say, what can we do different the next time to ensure that we don't that we to ensure that we ultimately get to our desired result. That's an example of what having an encourager's mindset will do versus having a praise um, mentality. Practical application: take a recent situation where you provided praise and reframe it into an encouraging message. So, what I want you to do when we get off of this presentation is I want you to write down a situation, think about a circumstance uh, where provided praise or you were waiting to provide praise and you never got the opportunity to, and see if you can reframe it and then send an encouraging message out. Think about a team member, a coworker, a family member, a friend that maybe they came up short, maybe they didn't meet the mark. Now think through the potential differences and how that impact encouragement could have on that individual, that situation, or that circumstance when you focus on effort, determination, and progress rather than just outcome. We know Coach Nick Saban used to always talk about the process. And I believe that that's one of the reasons he was so effective. Now, no one would consider him soft, but he was an encourager in his own way. Encouragement, once again, is about helping people reach their full potential and not focusing on the final outcome, but focusing on the process, the habits that are being built, the things that are being done. So, here's a couple key takeaways for that conversation. Praisers focus on results while encouragers focus on the journey or the process. Encouragement fosters resilience and long term success. A person who works in an encouraging environment, you will find that person tends to be a lot more resilient. The employees in that environment tend to be a lot more resilient, have a lot more bounce back, and they tend to ultimately have a lot more long-term success. Leaders, you should focus on building a culture environment, not just praise. And of course, let me move this so you can read this. It says Nick Saban often emphasized the process, which focuses on controlling what you can control, executing with precision, and not being distracted by the outcomes. So, um, as we get ready to get a little feedback here, I appreciate you being on with us today. This was an abbreviated version of this talk, but there are so many things that we can do or need to do to generate environments of encouragement and transformation of your culture can start with you simply becoming an encourager versus a praiser. If you would just take out your phone and scan the QR code there. And if you scan the QR code, it's going to give you all of these slides that I just went through, as well as a couple more that I'm going to go back and highlight here in just a moment. So while you're doing this, I'm going to take just a moment and come back after you've completed the feedback survey. I'm going to come back, wrap up with the key takeaways, and then a short thank you. I'll give you just a couple minutes to do that. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up today. Thank you for completing that survey. Hopefully, you will find this slide presentation beneficial. Here's just overall key takeaways from today. Number one is encouragement unlocks potential and enhances performance. If you do not work in or have an environment of or culture that fosters encouragement, you be the one that starts the spark. Remember that it is contagious and it'll spread like wildfire. So don't wait on someone else to be that encourager. Give what you think others need, and I promise you, encouragement will come back to you. Uh, Positive environments foster connection and engagement. If you're struggling with connection, if you're struggling with engagement from your team members, or you're struggling to get engaged yourself, be an encourager or help create the environment where encouragement is welcomed and expected. Be intentional about it. And that positive environment will not only help with resilience and other things, it'll foster connection and engagement. Environments where people feel encouraged, engaged, and valued, they are connected, they are engaged. Consistent encouragement creates a ripple effect. That's that momentum aspect of encouragement. It spreads like wildfire. And if you're dealing with the situation where your company is working in silos, then one of the best things you can do is, and like I said, be intentional. I mean, sometimes you have to just make it happen, make it a requirement. Have marketing call accounting, accounting call HR, HR call tech, IT, etc., and have them intentionally encourage one another in what they're doing. The project may not be completed, may not be finished, but encouragement along the way will go a long way. Create that ripple effect in your organization. Remember that cultural norms that focus on criticism over positive reinforcements will kill a culture faster than anything. Negativity is absolutely a drain on everyone that is around them. You will feel like you ran a marathon if you work in a negative culture. The reverse of that is you will feel refreshed if you work in an environment where there's positive reinforcement and encouragement. Your relationship with trust can either hinder you or help you when it comes to giving encouragement. If you do not have a good trust relationship with your team members, and that's a two-way street, they don't trust you, you don't trust them, vice versa, it will be hard to create that environment. So, one of the first things you need to do is begin to be empathetic, go out and listen and learn and connect and get buy in from your team members. And as you do that, the opportunity, the more engaged you are with your people from the front line to the boardroom, the easier the encouragement will come. Then be an encourager and not just a praiser. Praiser looks at final results and outcomes. Encouragers look at the hard work that's put in, look at the commitment. They look at the progress. They look at the process, and they insert themselves in along that process, whether it be from when there's a failure, when there's a success, or somewhere in between. They're pushing the project and moving the needle by being an encourager. And remember this: focus on the journey and not the destination. Focus on the journey. Be in the moment. Be where your feet are and encourage and be engaged and educate and equip and empower and all those things right where you're at. And you can't change the past, and the future is yet to come, and it's impacted directly by what you do in the now. So be an encourager today and focus on your journey, not the ultimate destination. Right? Robert Ingersoll said, "We rise by lifting others." I hope that today's presentation, the transformative power of uh, encouragement, the ability to create a championship culture, has helped you rise and lifted you up a little bit. Once again, I'm Martin Houston. Coach Houston is what I go by. So, Coach Houston, and I have one final challenge for you. Apply the one more inch principle today. Stretch. stretch yourself. Give more than you've been giving. Just one more inch, and then do it again tomorrow. And the only thing you have to do is do it one day at a time. You don't have to worry about doing it for a week. Do it today. And when today's over, get up tomorrow and do it again. Be intentional in encouraging at least one colleague or team member each day. Start that practice today. Find somebody in your organization, in your life, and encourage them today. And then get up tomorrow and do it again. Maybe the same person for a while, maybe somebody different, but be intentional in encouraging at least one colleague or team member each day. And then reflect on how small, consistent encouragement effects create. I'm sorry. Reflect on how small, consistent encouragement efforts create long-term impact. The only way, according to Steve Jobs, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Well, if you work in an environment of encouragement, it helps you to love what you do. Hey, once again, I'm Coach Houston, author to the Encouragement Factor, Give Me One More Inch. You can find that on Amazon.com. If you want to find out more about what all we have to offer, we speak, we coach, we train, we assess behavior. We have a threefold mission that's to empower better people, stronger teams, and championship cultures. You can email me, Martin at martinhouston.org, or you can go to martinhouston.org/book me, and that will give you a drop down and click Impact Strategy Meeting. If you'll do that, shoot me an email. Or I forgot to put this on here. I do have another leadership resource, free resource that you can just go to martinhouston.org/free resource, and it'll give you a Leadership Influence 101 flyer with a little coaching there. Thank you so much. I hope you have found this helpful. I will be doing these on a regular basis moving forward. Some will be complimentary and free. Others will be registration required and an associated cost. But hopefully you found this helpful. Thank you very much. And I'll be talking to you soon. Once again, that's Martin Houston, Coach Houston, the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions, empowering better people, stronger teams,